I begin my session today invoking the blessings of the Lord. Om Ishwaraha Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. I render my salutations to the rootless root of all and the causeless cause of all. I place my prostrations at the feet of all the liberated masters. And I render my salutations to the divinity which is innate and inherent in all of us. Thank you very much. The topic for today is titled as Finding Who You Truly Are. I repeat the title. Finding Who You Truly Are. I have picked up this particular phrase from a wonderful book. I'll reveal the name of the book for your benefit. You can definitely go through that book. It's an eye-opener at the end of the lecture. It's a wonderful book. Probably I have read this book more than 6 to 7 times. And every time when I read, I really get inspired. The insightful content of the book has really opened my eyes, and it has helped me to look at things from a different perspective. I wish the same with respect to you people when you read the textbook. I will certainly let you know about the name of the book and the author at the end. In case if I forget, please remind me. Okay. So this title is picked up from that beautiful book. And the title is Finding Who You Truly Are. As Vani Vasudev said right now, finding your true self. Finding your inner self. Finding your real self. That's what is the title. Okay. Let me begin this lecture thanking everybody here with an allegory. Allegory means it's a story with a hidden meaning. A short story, and again, an eye-opener. Let me narrate this story and start imagining yourself in that particular situation and try to enter deep into yourself. Let us say you have fallen asleep. You have fallen asleep one night at your home. You are at your home. It's night. You went to bed and you have fallen asleep and woke up the next morning. You had a deep sleep only to get up on the next day morning. But then what happened? As soon as you got up, you find yourself in a totally new environment. You are amidst a new environment, new surroundings, new people, and weird events. You have really no idea where you are and why you are there. Your first thought in such a situation will be, naturally to find out the way back to your home and to see whether everything at home is all right. Do you agree with me? Did you follow what exactly I meant in this particular paragraph or in this particular part of my lecture, introductory part? You have fallen asleep. You are into deep sleep. You get up next day morning only to see you are in a strange place. You are in a new environment. Your surroundings are weird. People are different and new. And you have really no idea where you are and why you are there in the first place. What will be your first thought? You may be puzzled. You may be surprised. You may be scared. You may be feeling weird. And the very first thought that comes to your mind is, just get out of this place. Let me find my way back to my home and see whether everything is all right at home. This is what you feel. This is an allegory. A small story, a short story, as such I can say it's a short story. It is an allegory to your present life. Please bring this situation and start relating it to your present life and the manner of living phenomenally. You are here living a life of a sort, but your roots or nativity is somewhere else. What I mean to say is, similar to the situation which was explained in the story, you are living a life here on earth, the present life, and this present life is a sort, but your roots or nativity is somewhere else. That means to say, this is a strange land. These people are really strange. The surroundings are weird. The events that are happening are entirely new. And if that is the situation, what should be your call? Your call should be that this is not my place. When I fell asleep, I belong to a different place. But now I am in such a strange place. I should wriggle out of this situation and go back to my original home and see whether everything there is all right. Because my roots are not belonging to this plane. My roots and my nativity are something else. I do not belong to this place. I have come here probably as a traveler, and my roots are somewhere else. I belong to the different place. And I should wriggle out of this situation and get back to my original place and see whether everything is all right there or not. To find out the roots, is a natural impulse in you. Get back, go back. I do not belong to this place. This is an ephemeral life. This is a transient life. This impulse is always there in you. Always it is there. But then, if it is always there in us, why are we people are not bothered about and aware of this impulse? According to the masters, the impulse to go back to my original place where I truly belong is very much there, inherent, innate in me. It is an impulse which my soul is carrying. If that impulse is so much there in my soul, if that impulse is so much there in my soul or spirit, why am I not bothered and also aware of this impulse? Because when we see the world, lot many people are living in such a way that they have forgotten their impulse. They are so absorbed in the present way of life. They are not aware that they are captives of present circumstances. So they are blindfolded. They have probably forgotten, or they are carrying a clever amnesia. Amnesia means forgetting. A clever amnesia. How long will they continue like that? We see a lot of people in the world being in the midst of their own situations. They are toiling, they are suffering. Some of them are enjoying. Some of them are so obsessed to this particular life. Some of them are totally into their vices. Some of them are having so much greed to make money, and day in and day out they are working so hard. And when you see this world, you come across people with different intentions, different lifestyles, different living standards, different beliefs, different goals, and different ideas. And a majority of them do not express the impulse to go back, do not express the impulse to find their true home. Why is this? As I said, we are too much absorbed in our daily grind of life. Unless something major happens, you do not turn to the deeper layers of your being. Something major should happen. A mega mishap. A mega mishap, either at individual level, or at family level, or at societal level, or at national level, or at the level of world. When some crisis happens, when something breaks down, when you reach a disastrous situation, then the impulse arises strongly. Then you realize that you are dreaming. Then you realize that it's a drama which is being played and you were a character till then. And the impulse drives you, and it will make you search here and there before realizing what you are searching for is not outside, it is within you. Hope you are following me. Are you following me? Is it clear to you? What kind of life we are leading? We are leading a life which has so much absorbed our consciousness, and we are leading such a worldly life, materialistic life, so much attached to our possessions. We have forgotten that we have been sent here not to get obsessed, but to actually realize who we are truly. With this allegory, which is an eye-opener, a food for thought, a wonderful, insightful story for further contemplation, I like to go ahead with this lecture. A lot many of us do not even think about finding out who I am or who we are. This is something which we always keep aside. The other things become of first priority to us. But unfortunately, a stage in life you reach where you realize this is a question which you should have asked much, much earlier in your life, so that you had more time, lot many days to contemplate, to engage in sadhana, and to realize and to find who you are. In ancient Greece, there was a famous temple of Apollo. Apollo is nothing but sun god. The Greek people used to worship sun god just like us. We pray to Surya Narayana, the god Surya Narayana. We consider the sun as Narayana because he is the one who has given sustenance to this universe, to our solar system. So we call him as Surya Narayana and we worship, we pray. Similarly, the ancient Greeks used to call sun god as Apollo, and there was a huge temple of Apollo at a place called Delphi in Greece. Right at the entrance of the temple, there was an arch. On the arch, there was an inscription. The inscription read, "Man, know thyself. Man, know thyself." This is the inscription on the famous temple of Apollo in Greece around 4,000 years ago. What is the meaning of man, know thyself? The meaning is, man, know yourself. People visiting the temple would certainly read this maxim before entering the temple. But how many of those people really understood the meaning of this sentence is really doubtful. Not many people perhaps would have tried to dwell deep upon the maxim and tried to understand the meaning of it. Mechanically, they used to read it. Know thyself is a phrase which points to a deeper truth. But most people would read the phrase mechanically and without dwelling deeper into the meaning, would simply enter into the temple. This phrase, know thyself, has a profound meaning provided one really contemplates on it. If you are ready to contemplate, it takes you to the deeper layers of existence. It reveals itself the meaning of life. But not many people take these things very seriously. unless they are spiritual sadhaks, unless they are pursuing spiritual life very seriously. In life, there are some existential questions which are fundamental, and one of those questions is, who am I? Before you ask any other question, first ask this fundamental question of life. Ramana used to instruct people to begin inquiry by posing this question to oneself. Who am I? A very fundamental question. Begin the inquiry of your life with this fundamental question, who am I? Finding who you truly are, is a fundamental question. Just a second. Many people remain unconscious and they're trapped in their egos throughout their lives. They hardly see the importance of their true selves. Hence, this particular question will not be taken very seriously, and they live a life totally being disconnected from such existential questions. Are you interested in finding who you are? At least from my point, I can say I am interested. Not only interested, but also curious to find who am I. This is the temple of Apollo in Delphi. It is in ruins now. You can see the arch there. You can see the tall pillars. On top of that, there was a big arch. And on the arch, there was a saying, know thyself and nothing in excess. Know thyself and nothing in excess. Please understand the meaning of it. Know thyself refers to know yourself, and nothing in excess means nothing more is required in life. If you know yourself, nothing more is required in life. And this know yourself has a deeper meaning. There are multiple existential questions. Who am I? Why am I here? Who sent me here? For what I have been sent here? What is life? What is the purpose of life? These are some of the questions which keep really haunting us if we are sadhaks. Every question will take us through a different path. And ultimately, all the paths merge to reveal the essence of life. Knowing yourself is nothing but to be rooted in being, instead of lost in your mind. If you want to know yourself, you should not get lost in your mind. This is what has happened with most of us. Most of us, including us, we are lost in our mind. Many people remain unconscious and trapped in the egos throughout their lives. When this question is asked, they identify themselves. If you ask somebody, who are you? What is your true self? They may identify themselves with their name, occupation, personal history, position, power, possessions, so on and so forth. Others appear learned. People like us who have read a little bit of books, who have heard a little bit of lectures, participated in satsangs, consider ourselves as learned, and think that we are immortal souls. And when somebody asks the question, I know very well, I am an immortal soul, but really do I know who I am truly? I do not know. I have read that I am a soul, that is my true self. I have read that I am an immortal being, that's what I have read, or I have heard. And I think that I am a soul, or I am a spirit. But this understanding that I am a soul, I am a spirit, is very much a content of my mind. And it is not important to understand this intellectually and assimilate it as a bookish knowledge. This is what we have been doing for a long time. A bookish knowledge which says that I am a soul, I am a spirit. And this is very much there in my mind. So I consider my true self is nothing but my soul. Knowing yourself is nothing to do with the idea and belief which is there in your mind. Knowing yourself is nowhere related to what is there as a content in your mind. Knowing yourself is to be rooted in being instead of lost in your mind. I know that I am a soul. Again, that is a content of my mind. That is an idea that I am carrying. That is a concept that I am carrying. As long as it belongs to the content of a mind, it is definitely not knowing oneself. It is just a belief which is there in the mind. Please understand, a lot of us think what we believe is the truth. But belief is a content of mind. It need not be, and it so often is not the truth. You can use this criteria to understand who you are. If you want to understand who you are, there are some criteria. What are those criteria? Ask a question to yourself. What is the question? The question is, what are the things that upset you and disturb you? If small things in life upset and disturb you, then you are very small. What are the small things in life? Ultimately, all things in life are small because all these things are transient. Wonderful explanation is given here. You ask what bothers you. You ask what disturbs you. You ask what ruffles you. What flares you up. What disturbs you. What upsets you. Most of the times, we people are upset by small things. And then, what is that big thing in life? So in life and in world, most of the things are small things only. And we invariably get perturbed by small things. There is a saying, don't sweat the small stuff. We invariably sweat the small stuff only. The small things. I'll give you the examples now. Those things which upset you, disturb you, are the things which you consider very important. And you equate that with your life. We come across some people who say, I know very well that I am an immortal being. I know truly I am immortal and my soul is immortal. Hence, I do not bother at all. All that I want in life is peace. This is what some people keep saying. I know the reality. I know I'm not going to be here all the time. I need to exit this plane, and only my soul is immortal. So I'm not attached to anything. What I want in life is peace. But then one phone call is enough for them to get completely disturbed, perturbed. All this, what they said till now, is a mere pretension. Imagine the phone rings and there is a bad news. What is the bad news? Stock market collapsed. A business deal has fallen through. The car has been stolen, or a trip planned for future is cancelled, or a contract has been breached, or mother-in-law has arrived, or your partner has left you, or the doctor has given a death sentence to you because he has diagnosed the dangerous disease cancer in you, or cancer in one of the family members, or you come across the news that you have been demoted at the place where you work. This is enough. Soon after hearing such a news, immediately your body language changes. There is a surge of anger. A harshness comes to your life, and you say, I can't take it anymore. And then what happens? You start accusing others or circumstances, blame, attack, defend, justify yourself, and you create all that hullabulla. What did you say before the phone started ringing? Before the phone started ringing, you said, I know my soul is immortal and this body is mortal. I'm not going to live here forever. What I want to do is I want to be peaceful all the time. One single phone call with a bad news totally perturbed you. What does that mean? That means you are no more acting as an immortal spirit. There is something which is much more important to you than your peace of mind. What you said earlier was a simple pretension, a mere pretension. If you were to be truly living to the words and the spirit of the words that you said earlier, you should have been calm. Why did you get so much disturbed? Because for you, all these worldly things are much more important than your true self. You are acting contrary to what you said. So these small things are disturbing you. That means to say, you are small. Your sense of who you are ultimately determines. Your sense of who you are ultimately depends upon what you perceive as your needs, what matters to you in life. Whatever matters to you in life can disturb you and upset you. So if small things are mattering too much to you, then naturally they disturb you, they upset you, and you are equating yourself to those small things. You are identifying yourself with those small things. You know what is the best indicator to understand how much you know yourself? The best indicator to know how much you know yourself is to see you in the midst of challenges. how you react to people and situations when challenges arise. That is the best indicator. What is the best indicator of sugar level in the blood? Find out. Find out serum glucose. That is the best indicator of your diabetes. Isn't it? Find out the protein level in the urine. That is the best indicator of your kidney function. Find out iron levels in the blood. That is the best indicator of your oxygenation, body oxygenation. Similarly, what is the best indicator of how much you know yourself? To know how much you know yourself, please watch yourself, how you react to people and situations in the midst of real life challenges. If you get perturbed, if you get disturbed, if you get disappointed, if you get ruffled up, if you become cranky, then probably you hardly know anything about yourself. You have equated yourself with a lot of worldly things, and you have identified yourself with a lot of worldly things. If small things upset you, as I quoted earlier, you are small. And how you react in the midst of all disadvantages, adverse situations, challenges, ultimately indicator of how much you know yourself. Usually what happens in our human interactions is our ego keeps reacting with others' ego. My ego keeps reacting with others' ego. These ego clashes happen because we have identified ourselves with our egos. I have identified myself with my ego. You have identified yourself with your ego. And when some interaction happens, the ego clashes are very normal to see, very common to see. Differences, anger, and conflict arise because of these ego clashes only. You are acting at your ego level, and you have identified yourself as your ego. This sort of identifying with your ego is an obstacle in knowing who you are truly. Please remember, acting at ego level not only gives rise to anger, conflict, scuffle, differences, and rage, but also ego is an obstacle in knowing who you are truly. If you want to know who you are truly, the obstacle has to be removed. What is the obstacle? Ego. No, you are not your ego. This is the first step. No, you are not ego. Easier said than done. I know I am not ego. I say that. But really, do I act like that? There's a lot of difference between what I know and how I act. That's called as integrity gap. The integrity gap arises because I believe in something, but I do something which is totally in contrary to what I believe. This is what is happening to me. I hear a lot of lectures, participate in satsangs, and I know I am not my ego. But knowing is not sufficient. After knowing I am not ego, have I changed with respect to my behavior, my mannerism, my actions? It's easier said than done. Intellectually, I know I am not my ego. But behaviorally, have I transformed? It is through knowing who you are not, perhaps you know. Is perhaps knowing who you are not, you know who you are truly. Please understand the meaning of this sentence. Instead of knowing who you are, first try to know who you are not. Most of the times in medical literature, we keep saying, to appreciate what is normal, you should first understand what is abnormal. When you know what is abnormal, you will be able to appreciate what is normal. Hence, you should know that you are not ego. You become aware there is ego within you, and accept that there is ego. When you become aware of the ego within you, there will be realization that you are not this ego. The most common obstacle is we are all blindfolded. We don't accept that we have ego. But the whole world keeps knowing that you are acting from your ego centered. You have a blind spot. The blind spot masks the ego that you are carrying. But when you talk, when you speak, when you interact, definitely the ego is expressed very clearly. You carry a blind spot, that's your mistake. You are not aware that you have ego. Get rid of that blind spot. To get rid of that blind spot, you need to become aware of your ego. When you become aware of your ego, you also realize that you are not the ego. When you realize that you are not the ego, the obstacle is cleared. Please understand one very important thing. Nobody can tell you who you are. Because if somebody tells you who you are, it's again another concept in your mind. It's again another idea in your mind. It would not change. It will add to the content of your mind. Who you are requires no belief. In fact, every belief is an obstacle. See, I'm getting into a really very, very deeper part of understanding oneself. Nobody can make you understand who you are, basically, because if anybody tries to explain something to you, it is an obstacle only because it's a belief. Belief or a concept or an idea which is instilled into your mind and which you receive into your mind becomes a part of your content of the mind. To know who you are, to tell you frankly, to know who you are, it does not require even realization. Many times we keep saying, realization is a path, then I realize who I am. But to know who am I, even realization is not required. Since you already are who you are. What I mean to say is, you are already, you are what you are. You already are what you are. To know who you are, it does not even require realization. You already are what you are. If that is the case, what am I supposed to do? There is no need to realize also. Simply experience it. Simply see that insight. It's like this. I am already who I am, but I am unable to experience it. Why am I unable to experience it? It's like this. There is a person who is apparently a poor person who does not know he has a bank account with 100 million rupees in it. And so his wealth remains an unexpressed potential. You are like a person, very poor, financially very poor. Unfortunately, you do not know that in your bank account, there is 100 million rupees. You have an unexpected potential. You have an unexpected potential. But you have not realized it. Why you have not realized it? You're not seeing it the way it needs to be seen. You are blind. So then, what should I do becomes the question. What am I supposed to do? Knowing is not helpful because it's a belief in the mind. And experiencing, it's not happening now because I am like a person who is very poor but has $100 million in the bank and I'm not aware of it. It's like my true self is there with me. That is $100 million in me, but I do not know that I am having $100 million in my bank account. That is the reason knowing oneself is not an easy job, especially when we are living a worldly life where we have identified ourselves with so many external things. But there is no doubt, knowing yourself is the key. It is the key, and it is the only path. There is no other path to go. If you want salvation, if you want moksha, if you want mukti, you have to know yourself. Find yourself. But please remember, it should not be confused with knowing about yourself. Knowing yourself and knowing about yourself are two different things. Many times we people get confused. Many times. Knowing yourself is the key. No wonder. But it should not be confused with knowing about yourself. What is the difference? See, knowing about yourself is something where a psychologist can help you. A psychologist can put you into psychoanalysis and understand something about you. Your attitude, your behavior, your mannerism, your beliefs, your ideas, your notions, your conjectures, your thoughts, your traditions, your fears, your anxiety, and so on and so forth. A psychologist can put you into psychoanalysis, study your deeper part of the psyche, and can prepare a report, and that report is nothing but knowing about yourself. But knowing yourself is something where no one can help you unless you engage in that sadhana. And the sadhana rests on transcending your ego. No one can do that for you. No one can do that for you. If you have to reduce your weight, you should walk. You should do dieting. No one can do dieting to reduce your weight. No one can walk to help you reduce your weight. You need to do that. So knowing yourself is something which you need to do. Don't confuse knowing yourself to knowing about yourself. Others can tell who you are when they interact with you over a period of time. And a psychologist is in the best position to explain who you are. That is knowing about yourself. But knowing yourself is a totally different ball game. So what am I supposed to do in order to find myself, who I am truly, or to know myself, what am I supposed to do? Move away from the content of mind. What is the content of mind? What all you do, what all you speak, what all you feel, what all you think, and what all you act. All this constitutes the content of mind. This is nothing but your ego. Your ego consists of all this. You identify yourself with what you do, what you speak, what you feel, what you think, and what you act. This is the content of mind. There is nothing else in the mind apart from all this. What happens when you identify with the content of mind? I am emphasizing the point that you should move away from the content of mind in order to know who you are. But I am so used to identifying myself with the content of mind. Let me know what happens when I identify, because this is the way I am living throughout my life. Probably I have lived like this many lives in the past also. Maybe in the future also many lives I may live like this. Unless I really move away from the content of mind, I'll not be transcending the ego. And without transcending the ego, I'll not be able to know who I am truly. But then, what happens when I identify with my mind? What is that big problem which prevents me from realizing who I am? See, what happens is, when you start identifying yourself with the content of mind, you begin fragmenting everything. Everything and every circumstance you start fragmenting into good and bad. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you think, whatever you feel, whatever you do will be fragmented. You fragment the whole world into good and bad. Good and bad are illusory. They do not have inherent meaning. They are illusions created by the mind. The mind has cleverly deceived us. The mind has clearly confused us. In order to keep us in its clutches, it has fragmented the existence into good and bad. The best way is to remain non-judgmental. When you remain non-judgmental, what happens is you become a witness. Suddenly you transcend the ego. Ego is the one which divides everything into good and bad. Everything into good and bad. This fragmentative mind traps us in lower mind and prevents consciousness rising to higher order. Lower mind is a place where we are stuck very badly since many lives. The lower mind is the one which divides everything into good and bad. It creates dualities. And our consciousness is stuck at the same place. We have become, over a period, too obsessed with judging everything. We keep judging everything because we are acting at our ego level. We need to transcend this content of mind. That means to say, we need to move from lower mind to higher mind. Lower mind is a form and the higher mind is a formless. From akara to nirakara, we should move. Every thought, every feeling, every talk Everything that we do is a form, whereas formless is something which is a higher order consciousness, and we need to raise ourselves to the higher order consciousness. Whatever you perceive, experience, do, think, or feel becomes a content of your mind. This content absorbs most people's attention entirely. Throughout our life, our attention is focused upon all those memories or all those future speculations. We either live in the past glory or in the future speculation or illusion. Invariably, people identify themselves with the content, and that's how people get stuck. And this is what actually fragments everything. And this fragmentation gives rise to quite a lot of problems. I will tell you one story before I finish this lecture now. This story clearly gives you the meaning why we should not divide things into good and bad. But that's the way we have been living. But there is something which is beyond this fragmentation, which is more important for us, and we need to raise to that level. Once upon a time, there was a wise man in a village. He was a poor farmer. He won a lottery, and the prize was a precious car. So such a poor farmer hit a bumper, and he received a very, very costly car as the prize. His family and friends were very, very happy. His family members and his friends, they all celebrated the event. They came to his house. There was a party at home, and they all met him. And some of them said, "Isn't it great? You are very lucky." So most of those people enjoyed the party and said, "Isn't it a great thing in your life? You're extremely lucky." The man simply smiled and said, "Maybe, maybe." That was the answer of that farmer. He was a wise farmer. Although he was poor, he was a wise farmer. After a few days of enjoying long drives in the car, one day a drunken driver came from the opposite direction and he crashed into this new car at a traffic intersection. This poor farmer, no more poor now, of course, basically a poor farmer, is badly injured with multiple fractures. He was hospitalized. Again, family members and friends came to see him in the hospital and said, looking at him, looking at his miserable state, they all said, "That was really unfortunate." The man again smiled at them and said, "Maybe, maybe." And all of them left the hospital. He was still hospitalized. While he was still in the hospital, there was a landslide and his house fell into the sea. A landslide happened there and his house fell into the deep gorge and into the sea. Again, the family members and friends came to see him and said, "Hey, come on, you were so lucky to have been in the hospital. If otherwise, you would have been dead." The man smiled again and said, "Maybe." Look, when something good happened, when he got the lottery, when everybody praised him and said he's lucky, he said maybe. But then what happened? He was hospitalized. And then they came and said, so unfortunate. He said, maybe. But he was not unfortunate later. Later, what happened? His house fell into the sea. And then they came and said, hey, come on, you are so fortunate, you are so lucky. You were saved because you got admitted to hospital, you met with an accident, and you got car as a bumper prize. For everything, the reaction was maybe. The wise man's refusal to judge by saying maybe signifies that he is accepting whatever that happens. Accepting whatever that happens and being in alignment with what happens is nothing but living in the present moment. When you live in the present moment, you're transcending your thoughts. You're transcending your feelings. You're transcending all the content that you have stored in your mind. When you become non-judgmental, when you stop judging everything, what happens is automatically you come into the present moment. Your consciousness gets stuck in the present moment because you're not judging. So understand how serious a blunder it is to keep judging everything, every situation. One small thing that if you do in life, that is not to judge anything, you will get into the present moment. That's called present moment awareness. That is the only solution. So watch yourself carefully. When you keep judging everything, we have seen people, and we have ourselves done this job many times. Go to a wedding, have food, and comment on the food. Comment on the food. Go to a party, comment on the way the party is being organized. Go to a temple, comment on the way that the decoration is done in the shrine room. Go to a friend's house and start commenting on the furniture and furnishings in the house. Get into a bus, keep judging the behavior of the people in the bus. Walk on the street, keep judging every other person who is walking along with you or by the side of you. Judgmental, being judgmental, you are dragged either into the past or into the future. And when you are judgmental, there are so many thoughts, there are so many feelings, and there are so many ideas, concepts, and there's so much of comparison, contrasting, and there's so much which is going on in the mind. And your consciousness is stuck there. It's stuck there. And when you stop judging, you don't divide this whole existence into good and bad. You take things as they come. That does not mean to say you should not respond. You respond to whatever is happening. But don't judge things into good and bad and label people into good people, bad people, good circumstances, bad circumstances, good things, bad things. In the midst of this, we reach a stage where it becomes difficult for us to actually move away from the content of mind. Being judgmental, you get stuck yourself in the lower mind. When consciousness gets stuck in the lower mind, you are either in the past or in the future. And this creates all the ruckus. So how to be there in the present moment? To be in the present moment, stop judging and start receiving everything as they are. and accepting everything as they are. That does not mean to say you should not change it. Okay, if you think it needs change, you do the change. But don't be so judgmental. Once Jiddu Krishnamurthy, in one of the lectures, he suddenly stopped and said, "Sirs and ma'ams, do you like to know my secret?" He said. So many people used to be his constant or continuous audiences, or audience, whatever you call. They used to attend his discourses very regularly. They were surprised when he said, "Do you want to know the secret?" All of them were eager to know what is the secret of such a person who is so evolved. And he paused for a moment and said, "You know my secret? I don't mind what happens." That means to say, I don't judge. I don't judge. I don't mind what happens. Whatever happens, it happens. I don't fragment it into good and bad and label it into good and bad. I just flow with it. I don't create an obstacle. What I'm supposed to do in that particular situation, I will simply do, without labeling it as good or without labeling it as bad. This is the way a saint lives, a yogi lives. So I end this particular session with one important insight given to us by great sages and saints, that is, to stay in the present moment, because by staying in the present moment, I stop judging. When I stop judging, the present moment awareness becomes so profound that I transcend the content of my mind. I go beyond the mind and I experience the utter silence inside me. And that utter silence is nothing but my true self. That's nothing but my true self. In that utter silence, I merely become a presence. I merely become a presence, nothing else than a presence. So with this, I end my lecture. Thank you very much for being with me throughout this lecture.